Welcome. Welcome. Welcome to live stream number 12. I don't typically keep my phone in here when I live stream, but I will be doing so today. My stepfather's in the hospital, so I'm getting updates from my sister in Indiana. He's fine. We're just getting updates. I'll set my phone right there just so I don't miss anything. Hello, Mr. Radios. You did not miss, thankfully. Travis is present and accounted for. Hey there, Cecil. Cecil, you're making one at the beginning. God, you guys are so awesome. Lyle, there it is. Lyle, by the way, did you get the goods? I sent them last Monday, or last Monday. Hey, Dave. Live from the stadium. That is not the IMO. I think that's the what's that camera you shot with, Travis, at the little boot camp? I feel like it's more one of those. What was that? Not the Panavision series. I can't remember. I can't remember what it's called. The something or other. Good to see everyone. Anchor in the pocket. Awesome. Glad to hear it. Okay, let's see what's going to happen today. I have a lot to get through because I'm kind of a book nerd. Although I don't read as much as my wife. My wife's reading right now. Movie Cam. That was the Movie Cam, but it wasn't hand cranked. Is this hand cranked? I don't know. I guess I never really looked at it. Oh, it is. Yeah, you're right. Oh, maybe that is the IMO. I think it's a more generic version. Maybe it's the... What, didn't Mitchell have a hand crank? That camera looks like it has a hand crank. It does, yes. I'm sort of a book nerd. My wife reads a lot. I think she's up to like 25 or 30 books she's read so far this year. She's actually in there reading right now. But I like having books. To me, it's a little bit different than doing a quick search online to find a guide or a tutorial or something like that on an issue that you're having with a camera or a setup or lighting or something like that, which, believe me, I do regularly, those searches to get quick answers. But you got to be honest with yourself. Sound like I'm preaching. But it's fun to be, kind of like surrounded, like all encompassed into that little comfort zone. I mean, I could sort of, it's like laying on rose petals, only there's, filmmaking books all around you. Somebody texting me. Sorry, 1 second, guys. It's my sister. All right, just trying to, like I said, my stepdad's in the hospital. He's been there for about 3 or 4 days. So we're just getting updates. Everything's good, though. Gordon Webster, hello, my good friend Gordon. If you didn't have the Criterion streaming, I'd read way more. Yeah, those are pretty awesome. Deland has some awesome vintage bookstores. Well, then I guess it sounds like we need to make a little trip, don't we? I love DeLand. DeLand's got a great little downtown. Hey, Lyndon. Okay, so a couple things I just want to go over before I get into, and these are not in 100% order, but this is a table full of books, and I intentionally kind of covered them so you can't see just exactly what we're getting into yet. I have 20 of them. We're going to go over them relatively quickly. I'm going to show you some of my absolute favorites, and by the time I get to the bottom book, which you can't see down here, it is the Desert Island book for me, the one that I couldn't live without. Well, I could, but I wouldn't like to. I will not have a live stream next Sunday. My live streams are sort of a little bit hit and miss, but we are doing another little family vacay. Quick weekend getaway, 3-4 days, so I will not be around next Sunday. But we'll continue the following Sunday, more than likely. So keep that in mind. Cark your Malanders. I will not have a live stream next Sunday. That will be the 9th. I mentioned a feature film in my last video. I think it was my last video that I want to shoot in Super 8 or 16 millimeter. Let me show you something. I don't think he's watching this stream right now, but my best friend in the world and filmmaking partner Jupes and I and his brother wrote this 2015, I believe, 14 or 15, 8-9 years ago, right? The screenplay called Mayfly, 2014. And we went everywhere with this script. I live in Florida, but we made some trips out to Los Angeles and had some meetings, really good meetings, made a lot of contacts, made a lot of mistakes, had a lot of interest in it. It's a very well written, sort of a dark drama, kind of an art house film, although I know that's sort of taboo sometimes to people. But if you're watching Jupes, I've really been thinking about this movie a lot lately. I love it. I love the concept. I love the script. I love the story. Maybe we were reaching too high. We were reaching for the stars, and we didn't actually even get one of the little plastic ones in the end. We got really close, it seemed like, but we didn't get what we were looking for, so it was shelved. It's a film that I've been so eagerly awaiting the right opportunity for, and I don't know. To me, it feels like it would be an awesome 35 millimeter film. It would look gorgeous in 35, but 16 millimeter might even be better. So it's a I don't want to say it's a simple plot, because it's not. There's a lot of falling down. There's a lot of turns and twists, things like that. I'm just letting you know it's something that's in the back of my mind right now. And I just talked to my buddy. He doesn't live around here anymore. So something I want you guys to keep in mind, that may be something that comes to fruition, hopefully. If not, I am going to do a horror film, or like a slasher. I'm kind of a goofy slasher guy, but one of these days, possibly in 16 millimeter. I got this book from 1970 about 8 and 16 millimeter filmmaking. Yeah, I have a few that I want to go over today. Hey Rich, hey Mike, I used to shelve books in Suffolk Superior Courthouse Law Library back in the 90s, loved it. It's hard to beat a good book, it really is. Yeah, in Boston, yeah. Harry Provisor. What's the Harry Provisor book? Not familiar. I like to arm myself with literature, like the Harry Provisor book. I don't know that one. Hey, Mike's here. Hey, Mike. What price would you recommend for the Bolex H8, H16 handle? One from the 1950. Bonnie, are you talking about literally just the handle for the camera? I don't know. I have a couple. I can't imagine. If you're talking about just the handle for the camera, it shouldn't be overly expensive. I mean, $50 to $75 probably. I expect to be on the crew. Will work for just Lyle. Yes, if you could make your way, when and if the time comes, you make your way wherever we're at, you are absolutely going to be a part of it. Hey, there's my stepdad, Michael B. Hope you're feeling good, Pop. I do have my phone nearby. I was just telling everybody so I can get updates. I've been getting, Lori's been texting me, so 8mm, 16mm movie making by Henry Provisor. Okay, 1970. I do not know that book, but I'm glad you mentioned that. Henry, not Harry. Okay. I'm glad you mentioned that, because I'm hoping that you guys will chime in with some of your favorite books as well, because I want to continue on my little journey. There's some that I may not keep. I have more than this, but these are the ones I really want to talk about. Remjet, you're kind of reading my mind. That one may or may not be in here. We'll find out. It may or may not, but probably may be part of that I read in the 90s. This is like the Bible. Yes, it is. It's 100%. I can't agree more. So I do think it's important, if you're in this arena, this film arena or analog arena, that you do surround yourself with sort of the analog internet, which is right here. I call this the analog internet, which is nothing more than books, paper, tangible items that make you feel comfy and warm and fuzzy. This stuff does sort of, I mean, it's dated. So to say that it goes, you know, it will always apply when you're using dated gear. So if you have a Super 8 book, it's still going to apply to the Super 8 camera that you own that was manufactured in the 70s. So, but a lot of it is dated. A lot of the techniques are dated. A lot of the in-camera effects people don't really use anymore. But to just even keep them and skim through them, it sort of keeps that, you know, that creative savvy going. It makes you, it sort of, for me anyway, when you look through an old book from the 70s or 80s that has a lot to do, or even 90s, with filmmaking, real film, it keeps the, sort of keeps that mindset alive, that it is important. It's important to me, and it should be important to you, to keep filmmaking going, you know? It brings you sort of to a different place, not like a YouTube video does, as you're watching this YouTube video. So hopefully you're in some sort of comfy place. I do have a video that I want to shoot. I have a found film video coming up in a few days, but I do want to, I'm thinking about, I pulled out, I think 20, I have 20, I believe, working Super 8 cameras. So I want to revisit my one roll of film and 20 cameras. And I'm thinking about doing it this time similar to how I've done the last couple times, but doing it where we show the frame lines so that you can see, although I will say a couple of the cameras are duplicates, but so you can see the different sort of gates or openings that different Super 8 cameras have. You know, you have some that shows more of the sprocket hole side, where your frame actually encroaches into the sprocket hole side, some that even crop pretty far down. It's all dependent on the size of the gate in the camera, but I like to see and maybe compare some of the stock gates from a lot of different Super 8 cameras, at least the ones that I have. That's all I can do. God, 15 minutes of rambling already. Lenny Lipton, Mike, that may or may not be in there as well. All right, I'm back a little ways. Okay, independent feature film production by Gregory Goodell and Rebel Without a Crew. Independent feature film production. You know, Lyle, I don't think I have that one. I do have Rebel Without a Crew. I've read that several times. New competition. Post a scene of the script online and everyone shoots the scene and you choose a winner. You know, Russell, that's not a terrible idea. Are you guys familiar with the old, not the new one, but the old Project Greenlight with Matt Damon and Ben Affleck? They did, like, they wrote this really crazy one-page script that was completely nonsensical. It was basically just a jumbled page of words, and people submitted a film based on that ridiculous script. It would be a line, someone would deliver the line, and someone else would deliver a line totally that didn't make any sense to what they just said, but it worked, and it made people really think outside the box. So I love that idea, by the way. I cut my teeth on Lenny Lipton's. Lenny Lipton, I've had a lot of his books. I don't know if I have any that I have out here, but I do have some of those. Independent, yeah, 1972. Prime lenses are better than zoom lenses. Yeah. I think prime lenses probably are better than zoom lenses. Looking at H8 that comes with one, and it became a better deal for me since I already own an H16. I love the H8 cameras. I have one, but like I said last time, it doesn't work great. I need to fix the pull down claw. I just, what else? I mean, really, what other camera other than a 100-foot roll of regular 8 or double 8? It's insane how much footage you get out of one roll of film, especially if you shoot it at 18 or 16 frames per second. I'm sorry, guys, I can't keep up with everybody. Remember the Dewey Decimal? Yeah, I do remember. I do remember Dewey Decimal System there, Travis. Overscanning, yes. I have a few H8 cameras. Get in touch if you'd like. Get in touch with Mike. Bonnie. Dewey Decimal is still used. It is. I think it's still used in our library, our local one. Hey, Ken. Your uploaded scanned films, are you developing a positive film from the camera negative, or are you converting the negative to a positive in software? Ken, that's a good question. Anytime I upload 100D, first of all, I process all my black and white processing is negative. My finished film is a negative film. I don't process reversal film as a reversal. I process reversal film as a negative. Now, with that said, obviously, when I do E6 processing, that will be a positive, and I do scan that as a positive. So everything that I scan, all of my black and white stuff is scanned, it's a negative when it goes into my scanner, and I convert it to a positive with my scanner software, and then I sort of touch it up in Vegas Pro. So there's a chapter about making regular 8 camera. I cannot keep up with you guys. Project Greenlight, Lyle. Yeah, what a great show. The early ones, the first 3. Haven't read all of it. Yeah, Lipton did some really good books. Certain Exposures. Hello, boys and girls. Anybody ever had 16mm slide film CT scanned or X-rayed? How'd it turn out? I'm debating taking some on a trip. So I have, but it's been a long time, and I have not had problems. As a rule of thumb, the lower the ISO, the better off you're going to be in those scanners. And I understand that if you ask, it works sometimes. Sometimes I've heard horror stories. If you ask them to hand scan it, or you know, clearly you don't want them to open it, but a lot of people have had luck having them hand scanned. So that's an avenue you might want to entertain. Poem, Puff the Magic Dragon song. I did not know that, Mike. That's interesting. Hey, Barry. Thanks for popping in. Bolex. Matte box from the same seller. I love the matte boxes. I have my Aeroflex 16S, and I really want... Oh, you're welcome. You're welcome, Certain. I really do want a matte box for it. It has a little, you know, provision for it. And most of them come with it, but mine did not, and I need to pick one up. Do you have a matte box for an Arri 16S? Okay, so here's what I want to do. Happy and safe 4th of July, everyone. If you celebrate the 4th of July, which if you're in the U.S., I hope you do. But please be safe. The people around me have already started lighting off bombs. They sound like bombs, and my little chihuahua goes berserk. Cheers. Comes out quicker if you open it. My beautiful sister Tina sent that to me. I love this mug. Yeah. Whoa. Kind of like the lens from my last. Did you guys watch my last video when not lens, but when the microphone flew off of my camera? I know Lyle did. America. Don't ask for hand checks in France. They don't. If I do take it, I'll try. I had a hard time asking for a hand check in the past. Yeah, I know it's hit and miss. I've heard a good and bad about that. Thanks, Lyle. Okay, so book number 1. The first 2 books are more specific to me and what I like to do. They may not help you, but from 2008, we have the Darkroom Cookbook. You guys remember this book? By Steve Ashell? 2008. It's mainly a sort of a kind of an overall take on formulas, processes, black and white film processing. Now, most of it is going to be still film. That's what most people process is still film. I'm kind of in the minority when it comes to home developing cine film, but that's my, like I said, that's my golf game. So I enjoy the heck out of it. But it's such a crossover. They really do cross over, still and cine film. Now, to accompany it, my wife bought me this one, the Film Developing Cookbook. And it also, it's not just by Anshel, but it is Bill Troop with Steve Anshel. And this one is published, this is the second edition. This is the third edition of this particular book, which is 2008. This is the second edition, the Film Developing Cookbook. It's hard for me to get my orientation right here. Like I say, Bill Troop with Steve Anshel, 2020. This particular one was published. And what a great book. I mean, it's just a good, sort of relaxing, rainy day, go over a lot of, he talks a lot about the different types of developers and what they do to different types of films and the grain patterns, different processes, a lot of different processes. They really get into some good detail about the different over-the-counter developers, like your normal Rodinals, D76, HC110s. So overall, for somebody like me, these are do not sell books for me. Do you guys have your favorite film developing cookbooks? Hopefully you have one. There are some books that if you're serious about filmmaking, and I mean film, I have some, let's not kid ourselves. All of us do a little bit of digital filming. We do digital filming. It's just the nature of the beast. I've done about 8 short films now, all in digital. So you're kidding yourself if you're not shooting digital as well. Carry one. Okay. Yeah, I didn't know that, Travis. The check bag X-ray is strong. I guess it might have to be because, well, the bags are much bigger usually. Oh, the Town Parade Car Show. That sounds fun, radios. Yeah, 2008. Oh, the cookbooks. Yeah, I do too. I gotta have them. I had some film go through the carry-on X-ray and there was no damage to it. Now, I will say this. I do have to question whether some of the film that I've ordered, not from Kodak, they're very good about keeping it away from the X-rays as far as the stickers they put on the box. Who knows? But I've ordered film from eBay and certain places, and it's kind of been a little wonky. I don't know if that's because it goes through X-ray, postal X-rays. I don't know. Or it could just be the age of the film. Who knows? Mike, yes. You know what I might do, Mike? I feel like if I could just, probably, I may just put all 20 books. It'll take a few minutes, but I might just list them all in the description of this video. So you can go back again after this is published online and look in the description. I'll put all of these books with the author in the description. Just a list of them. What do we got here? I'm going to get on to book number 3 of 20. Will this help me for a guy who's never done home darkroom? It will. It does help. I mean, it gives you some insight. Definitely gives you some insight into the different processes and what they actually do to your film. Don't be nervous about messing up. Buy a cheap roll of film and go for it. Tri-X is a good cheap roll of film. Well, it's not cheap if you buy it new, but well, it's not cheap if you buy it used either, so I guess there isn't a good cheap film. If I could revive a dead film format, like 620, what would it be? That's a really good, I love your questions, Bonnie. I think 9.5 just wasn't meant to be. 17.5 the same. 620, I think that's just too close to 120. I think if I could revive one, to be honest with you, it would probably be 126. It's a 35mm film, but it came in a cartridge. You snap it in your camera and you go. I just love the fact that you could just snap, go, and you still got beautiful images. That'd be my guess, or my take. What do you have more of, film books or cameras? I have way more cameras, Dave, probably. Yeah, I do love some Pathé. I did get a Pathé double Super 8 camera, but it has issues. If you tried Orwo, I have not tried Orwo NC500. I have read and seen some terrible reviews of that film, though. I don't. That's just what I've seen. I'd like to try it personally. Oh, I haven't seen good tests, but I need to look again because it's very cost friendly. I know that, so I may have to pick some of that up. No, I do want to pick some of that up. Bucket and doing the processing in black and white scratches. Do it, Lyle. Get a bucket. Do it. The only biggest issue with getting a bucket, other than scratches on your film, is it takes a lot more chemicals. But get something like HC 110. It's inexpensive, or get the FPP 110. Same formula, and it's a lot cheaper. So for like $30 US, you can make gallons of it. Yes, what Cecil said, Tri-X can be developed as a negative, and that's what I like to do. I like developing it as a negative. All right, so I'm way behind on the comments, but if I don't show you some of my favorite books, we're never going to get through them. Yeah, Rich, I like 126 too. No, Orwo's not going bust, is it? Just flew last week, bought a cart of 2004 Kodachrome. Cine said only film over 800 ISO is at risk. We will see. Did not end up shooting it. Ooh, that's good to know, Rich. I did not know that. I know that the higher ISO was supposed to be more at risk, but I didn't know specifically. That's cool. You guys found a bunch of mounted 126 Kodachrome slide film the other day. Shoot it. I have an Instamatic 126 with an old cartridge. I have some old 126. Kodacolor 2 is very hard to get images from these days. It just didn't hold up very well. Taking film out of a Lomo tank and finding images a lot more. You are, Russell, you just took the word, literally took the words out of, well, the thoughts out of my brain. You're right about that. There's just something about, you know what I mean? You know what I mean. I did 2 rolls of Kodachrome KA2 yesterday, which is the Impossible film, and actually saw images on them. They weren't very great, but I was just stunned that I got images. Okay, here we go. Book number 3. The Complete Film Production Handbook. This book was published, see that? By Eve Light Hunfener. Young lady. There she is there. At the bottom. I don't know if you can see her. Anyway, this book was published in 1993, and it's essentially a step-by-step of the actual production process. It includes a lot of like forms and releases and just all kinds of, it's really a really good book. All kinds of different call sheets, actor releases, budgets, breakdowns. Really a fun book. Like I say, dated. The book's 30 years old, but when it comes to like a budget and what you need to make a film, things really haven't changed. You need cameras, you need lights, you need people, and you need money and food. So those kinds of things don't really change. The prices, the cost of them, and the actual pieces of gear themselves have changed, but most of the things and the processes, those are all the same. They really are. So insurance claim worksheets, I mean, she goes through everything. This is an amazing book. Call sheets, breakdown sheets, notice of tentative writing credits, DGA employment, Screen Actors Guild information. Another really great, fun read book. Keep this one in mind. Again, I will put it in the description. I'll just put all the names. I'm getting through these first 10, and then the second 10 are the ones that I really enjoy. Who can have a library of filmmaking books without something that has to do with lighting? And why not have a book about lighting that's relatively modern? This one was published in 2015. Now, I understand most lighting. Once you learn lighting techniques, from book to book, the lighting techniques are typically going to be the same. So you really need to pick the book that you most connect to. And this is the one that I have kind of most connected to. I'm obviously not going to go through the entire book, but it's full of color photographs, and I'm a visual guy. Gives you examples, lighting scenarios, lighting techniques, different types of lights. And as we all know, photography lighting and filmmaking lighting, those intersect. Of course they do. There are some differences, but for the most part, those all intersect. This is the 5th edition. I'm not positive when the 1st edition came out. I don't have that listed, but edition number 5. Whew, there it is. Oh, and this is by Phil Hunter, Stephen Biver, and Paul Fuqua. They're on the bottom. I'd like to give them credit. Next, and I threw this one in here. I'm no artist as far as artist, pencil, pen, paint, anything like that. But who can have a filmmaking library without a storyboarding or exploring storyboarding book? There's software now that will really help you with storyboarding. I'm a stick figure storyboarder. This particular one here, this is this is the only edition. Came out in 2005, and it was written by Wendy Tuminello. It's an in-depth guide to the art and techniques of contemporary storyboarding, and it's just that. Look at that. Ooh, we got there, Mr. Hitchcock. And as far as if I can remember right, correct me, I don't think Hitchcock used storyboards. At least that was the rumor. Gives you definitions of certain scene names or shot names. This is the selective shot or subjective shot here, and kind of gives you a breakdown of what storyboards do and what they're for. Highly recommend storyboards. We've used them quite a bit, quite extensively, and even on our short films. My filmmaking partner, Jupes, he's a real gifted artist, and he can draw like no other. Yeah, I trust books from the 60s and 50s and 70s too, yeah. Lyndon says, fine high-tech still cameras, only 35mm cameras and digital cameras to an event together to shoot. I do that too, Lyndon. Of course, I always have my phone with me, so, you know, I do take a lot of iPhone pictures, but I have to have either my little Olympus XA in my pocket or my Nikon F3. I mean, you gotta have a film camera with you. Hey, Jeffrey. Thanks for popping in. Oh yeah, looking forward to the book list. Releases and forums will be great to have. Yeah, they're nice, Mike. Beautiful book, love it. Read that. Okay, let's move on. Yeah, Lyle, I try to keep a little bit of everything in the mix. 2 books I got back consistently for reference are the Filmmaker's Handbook by Steve Asher and the Camera Assistance Manual by David Elkins. Camera Assistance Manual, Travis, I gotta look that one up. I'm very familiar with the other one. Draw your vision, that's right. Got a roll of film at 35 when I flew to London. The pictures came out perfect, but when I got my first roll, HP5, I had gone through an X-ray scanner, developed. HP5 is a tricky film. I love HP5, but I actually love Filmapan even more. Filmapan 100 or 200 creative, hard to beat, Bonnie. It really is. I think Filmapan, I've shot Kentmere, I've shot all those weird, you know, 35mm black and white films. Filmapan is probably one of my favorite, probably my favorite black and white 35mm film. Such an awesome film, especially in 100 to 200 speed. Please, love you, see. Okay, cinematic storytelling by Jennifer Van Sigel. I got to remember that one, Russell. Thank you. Do you recommend books by? Okay, I am too, Mike. I love when people recommend their books. Check this out. This is not a film making book, but rather a collector's guide to Cine cameras. This book, it was published in 2000, and I definitely couldn't pass this up. I think I got this at a used bookstore of all places. I think I've had it for quite some time. and you see the beautiful Pathé right there on the front, and on the back you have that Wittenauer. I think Old Radios has one of those Wittenauers. That's the movie camera that you put on this base when you're done shooting and developing your film, and the movie camera turns into the movie projector. So this is basically just a sort of a digest of cameras, cine cameras, film cameras. Look at that. It's a great book. Then it's got a few projectors in it. See that? Keep an eye out for that one. I'll put that in the, I'll put all, like I say, all of them in the description so you can keep up. This is by John Wade. Next, you guys will chuckle on this one. And I actually got this, this book came out 20 years ago, 2003. It's a book by Brian Michael Stroller. Does anybody want to venture a guess on what this book is? I'm going to cover it because you'll see it and you'll know it instantly. Brian Michael Stroller. You guessed it. Filmmaking for Dummies. Honestly, how can you have a filmmaker's library without one of the Dummies books? When the Dummies series first came out, my older brother, is a professional magician by trade, and he contributed to the Magic for Dummies book, which I have right up there. But who cannot have the For Dummies book when you're into anything? I mean, if you're a quilter, you will certainly want the Quilting for Dummies. They're the easiest reading books you'll ever get. They're made for people that just, watch a complicated movie and can't get it. They're broken down so simplistically. Every step, there's the assembling your cast of characters. Every step is broken down in such layman's terms for those of us when we were just starting out exploring filmmaking. Well, that's all there is to it. It's a very simple guide to filmmaking. Keep it in your library. All right, here we go. Somebody mentioned this book earlier, and I honestly cannot imagine having any filmmaking books before this one. Whoa. Who has it? Raise your hand. Come on. Who has the Filmmaker's Handbook by Edward Pincus and Stephen Asher? We know those names. We've known them for years. This book came out, this particular copy, this is the original, was published in 1984. See my little book tab here? Check it out. Yep. Cinema Product CP16A. There it is. Who has a film library? Seriously, who has a filmmaking library without this? Now, with that, this is the first edition. This is the original. This is a film book, not digital. But you can't shut your eyes to the fact that we are in the digital world. So what do? You transition a little bit. Look at that. 2012. Now, this is the 5th edition, 4th edition. 4th edition. They've gotten this book up to the 5th edition, which was published in 2019. This one is pretty specific to the digital age, and I also want to show you the size difference. Pretty significant. Same authors, Stephen Asher and Edward Pincus. I mean, it takes you step by step, everything there is to know about filmmaking. They're the Bibles. If you don't have these, then you're not a filmmaker. Sorry. I think Spielberg has these in one of his 19 studies or dens. Who has it? Ben from Ben's Camera got a nice camera. I saw that. Yeah, he was borrowing one. I did see that. That was a beautiful camera. Travis, I'm with you. I do like the original edition. It's much easier. It's an easier read. What do you got, Mike? One more Lipton book. The Cinema in Flux, the evolution of motion picture technology from the magic lantern to the digital era. We'll be checking it out. I want to be sort of a filmmaker. Yeah, you need to be. You have the book, The Encyclopedia of Photography. I don't have that. I don't, Bonnie. I do have one. I'm thinking, I don't know if it's the same one that you're talking about, but I have, you'll see in a minute. I had all my friends in school sign mine. Oh, wait, I'm missing something. Book manual, I'm editing and sound sync. I do have a book for manual film editing and sound sync, but that not very practical for me at the moment. You're getting good though, Travis, that sync and that sound. I just watched your 35mm footage. That looked perfect. It was like 5,000 pages. Yes, the Da Vinci, the Da Vinci Resolve manual. Oh boy. Lyle says, I didn't connect with it, but I recently borrowed Cinematography for Directors by Jacqueline Frost. Interesting. Filmmaking for Old. That's the Dummies one. Oh, God. My projector works. I haven't filmed with the camera because it sounds like a cement mixer when the battery... Oh, you're talking about the Cecil. Are you talking about... I'm way behind, but are you talking about the Wittnauer 3C batteries? Yes, I need... Did I go through? Oh, let me show you the last book real quick in my first 10. This is an interesting book. This is called What They Don't Teach You at Film School. I'm starting to get into the books now that are a little bit not so mainstream, and I have a couple that are really not mainstream, that were self-published. This particular one was Camille Lando and T.R. White, or T.R. White. It's a fun book. This one came out in 2000. It was published. And they're very frank about everything they talk about in here. They stay out of the sort of the... what am I looking for? They stay out of the electronics of filmmaking or the nuts and bolts and give you the... Or they give you the nuts and bolts, the real realities of actually being on a film set or filmmaking. The reality of getting a lawyer for your film, the reality of feeding your cast and crews. It's different when they teach it to you in film school. It really is. I went to film school, and it's different. It's way different when you actually get out and apply it practically. And that's pretty much exactly what they do in this book. They give it to you practically. Good little read. I'm down to my last 10. Do you have the book? Okay, there I am. I'm so far behind. How many times have I said that? Filmmaking books for, hey, Blase, how are you? Any filmmaking books for experimental films? You know, I think, honestly, for experimental films, you don't need a filmmaking book. I think you just have fun with those. I really, really do. Get some expired film and just have fun. Alright, where am I at here? Got a couple sets of Kodak and newer Nikon stuff, but applicable. Film. Well, I need that so I can change that with our studio. I can change that with our studio. The Bearfax radios. Are you talking about the book, the Bearfax? FB&X, hey there, how are you? Thanks for stopping in. I appreciate it. Will you be bidding on any cameras or accessories on LP Photo on the 18th? I have a Bolio R16 at about 140 right now. What is, I'm not sure what LP photo is, Bonnie. That's why I like stop motion. I love stop motion. No actors to pay. Trade bait for an H8 perhaps? That's a great answer. Improvisational is worse. Yeah, I know it's probably a cop-out answer, blase, it's cheesy, but honestly, that's exactly what I would do. Wait, Craig. What are you doing here, Craig? Go back to your hole. That's my buddy Craig Booth. Craig and I worked together for a long time. Williamson Boulevard. Yes, I remember her, or it, or that. Experimental film. All right, here we go, kids. Top 10. These are my top 10, in order. This one was a fun book. This is not one that you're likely to find on New York Times bestseller list. This is called How to Make an Action Movie for $99 by Andrew Harder. And then that's not his real name, by the way. I know who he is. He's a friend of my brother's, and he's written quite a few books. He's not really a filmmaker, but it's a fun book. It's one of those books that it's like a self-published book. He released this in 2001, and quite frankly, it's pretty goofy, and it's pretty self-explanatory. But it's a fun read. It's one of those books that it's just, I've read it several times. It's really, really easy to read. Very easy to read. Let me see if I can find a couple photos or something to show you. I didn't really have too many pictures in here. But there's the back. See that? You can pause it if you want. Take a look at it if I can get it focused. Anyway, he shot a goofy little action movie for 99 bucks, and he did it by just using friends and family and feeding a pizza. I just gave the book away, but whoa! But it is a fun book, and it's one that I've learned to appreciate over the years. Okay, now we're on to book number 12, and this is a fun book too, and it's not one that's really used much anymore. This book, it may be my oldest, published in 1980. So it's 43 years ago. Look at that. Special Effects, A Guide for Super 8 Filmmakers. By Karen O'Connor. And illustrated by Terry Burr. See that? There's some other books on there. And it gives you kind of some insights on, you know, what you could do or what you could expect to do in the world of in-camera special effects in the 80s. She goes over some of the bigger films that used special effects. 2001, A Space Odyssey. There. I think Jaws is probably in here. Composite shots. Remember the composite shots where they would put a model back there behind, or mats or something like that? You guys know this movie, King Kong. I think that's the 1970s King Kong, the one with not Fay Wray, Jessica Tandy, my favorite one. But anyway, keep that book in mind. That's a fun book. That's actually a hard copy, very thin book. It can't be more than about 40 pages, 60 pages. 85. One of my favorites. Have you guys ever seen How to Shoot a Feature Film for Under $10,000 and Not Go to Jail by Brett Stern? This book made its debut in 2000. And I've read this book a couple of times. I haven't visited these books recently, so I'm not 100% keen on everything that's in it. But this was one of the books that really kept me going in the mid-2000s when things in my life kind of changed and started going different directions. But not in a bad way. I'm just saying things were different. But this one really made an impact on me. Really made an impact on me. Shooting film, and how to do it, mainly short ends or recams and 16 millimeter stuff. I don't know if you guys remember, but in the early 2000s, you could buy an Arri SR camera, or okay, maybe mid to late 2000s, but you could pick one of those up for a couple grand. I mean, that's when film was literally dying to nothing. But he didn't let that happen. He kept going with it. Really good book. All right, what are we missing here? There's some lawsuit break footage of the Kittner boy getting ate by Bruce and Jaws. They had to tone down the scenes because it was so brutal. What a good movie. Jaws, favorite of all time. That is a very good movie, Jaws there, Russell. FB&X, just found your great channel. I got an Airflex 16 ST recently, and your videos have been a lot of help. Thank you very much. Thank you for watching, especially, and supporting. I can't do this without you people. You know that. Otherwise, I'm just going to talk to the wall. Abel, how are you? Thanks for stopping in. Oh, an auction house. They're an auction house in Sweden that does 2 to 4 auctions a year filled with oh, Bonnie, I wish I could be there. That would be so awesome. Woohoo! New summer reading list. Yes, Mike, you need to get some new books. Okay, let's see where we're at. I have that under 10,000. That's a good one, isn't it, Cecil? Don't get rid of it. This is the book every Barnes & Noble had, 2005. Yeah. That reminds me of the features written in Starlog Press Cinemagic magazine. I'm not familiar with that magazine. Any books on how to shoot a 3-minute Jeffrey? Yeah, there's some books on that, and they're right up there. If the Arri is a 16S, maybe. Yeah. Okay, here we go. Book number, you guys know it's got to be coming. Book number 14. Come on. It'd be easier to say in this group that we're in. It'd be easier. The better question is who hasn't read this. I think we would get less people that said they haven't read this than they have. This is called Rebel Without a Crew. Penned by Robert Rodriguez. Everybody knows who Robert Rodriguez is. Famed director now, and director of El Mariachi, the Guns in the Guitar Case movie. I have both the book and the movie, and I bought this book when it first came out in 1995. And if it hasn't been sort of a kicker in the rear for everyone that has always wanted to make a film, then you just haven't seen the book. You haven't read the book. You haven't appreciated the book. But how can you have a film book library? There's my wife. Am I right? She says I'm right. Without this in it. Rebel Without a Crew. And it's a story about how he shot this movie for $7,000. And you remember he did all the scientific studies, and they poked and prodded his body, and he raised money by being part of the medical experiments in order to shoot his movie. And what a good movie it is, honestly. The original El Mariachi. If you don't have it, I recommend you look for it. It's a fun movie. Now, I have another book. The next book following this one, it's ahead in the list, because it's an obscure book, and it's one that you're not going to be able to, you're not going to find probably unless you look for it after this showing. But it runs, I'm going to leave this one up here for a minute because it's right in line. By the way, you see what camera he's using. Yeah, Arri 16S. Check this out. It's hilarious. This book is hilarious. Yes, it's a Rebel Without a Crew, or Rebel Without a Deal. And it's how this guy here, Vincent Roca, who I do not know personally, went from shooting a film on digital, DVX 100s. You guys remember when those first came out, and they were 24p, and I had one, and everybody had one because they were so cinematic and they were cool, and I shot movies on it, and so did he. Well, he shot a movie called Kisses and Caroms. Now, if you play pool, you certainly know what kisses and caroms are. But he sort of emulated, not Robert Rodriguez, although his book is similar. He emulated Kevin Smith, and everybody emulates Kevin Smith when it comes to low budget or independent films. Well, not everybody, but a lot of people do. He was no exception, and he, like me and like a lot of people, loved Clerks when it came out. So his movie Kisses and Caroms sort of follows the formula where they're in an amusement store. They sell pool tables and like poker table, mainly pool stuff, pool cues and all kinds of pool things. And it's the sort of the trials and tribulations of different customers and the interpersonal relationships of the employees and boyfriends and girlfriends. But it's actually a fun movie. And he tried and he tried and he tried everything he could possibly do, and he details it in this book to get that movie out there. Well, it's out there now. It is on DVD, maybe Blu-ray. You can't. I do have the movie on DVD. I know he went after Kevin Smith to get approval on a couple of things in the movie. Can he use Moobies? Remember Moobies, the burger place? Kevin did give him permission to do some things. Kevin also has a little, I think he does an intro into the book. Introduction to Kevin. Yes. So Kevin had a little bit to do with this. This guy actually, his family owned the store, and he went on to make a poker table for Kevin Smith, had it delivered to his house, and Kevin actually invited him to play poker with him, with Jay Muse and the whole View Askew universe people and whatnot. So it's a really fun read. That's why it's very, very high up in my list. If you haven't seen it, try to find it. I don't know. I don't know if you can scan the barcode. Again, I'll put this in the description. They'll all be in the description. All right. Obscurity. Any books on... Oh, I'm just losing it here. Okay. It's also Finland. They even have an area. Yeah, I wish, Bonnie. Gosh. Done. My second attempt at making a 16mm film is in the mail right now. Hopefully, the first attempt didn't come out at all. Cecil, I want to see that second attempt. Hopefully, it comes out. Okay. Number 16. You guessed it. Make your own damn movie. You guys remember this guy? Where's he at? Right there. That's Lloyd Kaufman. The owner of the longest running independent film studio in history? Independent film studio. Troma Films. But he wrote this book, and it's really a lot of fun. Now, I'm not a huge fan of Kaufman. I'm not because I'm sure he's a great person. I've actually met him, but I'm not I just don't like his movies per se. He did The Toxic Avenger and a lot of those weird Troma movies. They're a little over the top, a little bit more over the top than even I like. But the book is so damn good. Sorry, Mom, if you're watching this. I don't cuss on screen usually. That's not really a cuss word. Script writing, financing, pre-production, production, post-production, and marketing. If anyone knows about independent or low-budget making movies, it's Lloyd Kaufman. He's been in lately a lot of really cheesy movies. He makes appearances in movies. Take it for what you will. And they have a studio where they sell and they promote a lot of different movies, different people's movies. But this particular book, sick of all the cookie-cutter plots in Hollywood films, don't walk out of the movie theater and say, I can do better than that, but don't know how. Lloyd Kaufman, president of Troma Entertainment and creator of The Toxic Avenger, says, make your own damn movie. And he shows you and tells you exactly how he did/does it in that book right there. There's the back. Pretty good glare. All right, moving on, because we just hit a little over an hour. So we're going to get through these. We're on book number 17. This was going to be like my second, but there was a couple that beat it out. You know it. You love it. Everyone knows it. The Complete Handbook of Super 8mm Filmmaking by R.C. Norris. Most of it is pretty self-explanatory. Look at this guy. Look at this guy shooting with a bullet U. Can you see that? Everything about this book is fun. The Elmo, right? It's Super 8. It's Super 8 genius. If you like small format, there's some workstations. If you like small format and you like old books from the 80s, this one was 1982. Did I already say that? Then you can't pass up the Complete Handbook of Super 8 Filmmaking. This one, by the way, stays on my nightstand next to the in our bedroom, next to my bed, because I like to thumb through it. It just, you could start anywhere in the book and have fun. There's double system recording. Oh, sound clutter. Well, there's a section for that. Mounts for moving shots. You mean like a slider? Let me see if I can find one more cool camera in here before we go on to the next book. That is looks like a Canon. There's a Bell & Howell. Oh, the Bauer S709XL. Look at that. Hey, old radios. There's a Bauer. And then there's a Bell & Howell up top. That's one of those Filmosonics. Anyway, keep an eye out. You got to get that book. Okay, number 18. Scare Tactics. Horror movie fanatic buff, especially low budget independent horror. And this is a John Russo book. Remember Night of the Living Dead? He had a lot to do with that. And it's just, this came out in 1992. Let me just give you a little breakdown. You'll find out high concept or low concept. Which should you choose? Vampires, drug dealers, psychopaths, how to make a hot concept into a whole story. Building suspense into your plot the way the experts do it. He was an expert, or is. I'm not 100% sure if he's still with us. It's sad, I should know that already. Russo's special system for treatments and easy outline. Anyway, I could go over the entire back of the book, but he gives you lessons of exactly how he did and does what he did and does. There's also advice from Clive Barker, Wes Craven, John Landis, Joe Dante, and Rick Baker, the special effects extraordinaire, Mr. Baker. George Romero. If you haven't read this, I do highly recommend, look at that Aeroflex, I do highly recommend picking this book up. This is number 3 in my list. It's book number 18, but it's book number 3 for me. I read this many moons ago. I think I was working for my dad when I read this book, and it kept my spirits alive. We are on to book number 19. This is my second favorite book in my film book library. That spot next to my bed is taken forever. Kitchen coffee. Lyle. Oh, trauma trash. If the postman is kind, should see it tomorrow. I hope so, Cecil. Let me know. Yes, better be stuff from late 60s. Yeah. Okay. You guys ready for this? My second favorite book. I did it. I did it. $30 Film School. Came out in 2006. You want to come say hi real quick? I'm going to leave this right here because there's a whole bunch of books. Poke your head in. And she has, no, that's good. Just stay right there. There's books all over the floor. We can see you. Look, right there. See the thing? That's Piper and that's Ellie. My other daughter is Katerina, who's right there at the refrigerator. Don't hurt the dog. Kat, you want to say hi? My other one wants to pop. She never pops in. Hey, Mike. Yeah, Mike says, hey, Piper. There's her hand. Get your butt in here and say hi. That's Katerina. Hi. She's my shy one. I have a not shy and a shy. Shy. Okay, you ready? Say hi, bye.
Hi, bye.
Love you, honey. $30 film school. Michael W. Dean. If you look up Michael W. Dean, he's mainly does a lot of music now. But in 2006, when he put this book out, and it comes with a DVD. I'm sorry, a CD. You also get a little data DVD rather, right there in the back of the book. It's got a lot of the stuff and the reference stuff that he talks about in this book. It's an incredibly easy to read book, and he takes us through everything that he has done with the couple of films that he talks about and how exactly he got through the whole process and $30 film school, by the way, is you're paying $30 for the book. He tells you how he four-walls his movie all over the world, basically, in bars, nightclubs, little theaters, and basically makes enough money to keep going and fund this big adventure he goes on. And he tells you exactly how he does this big adventure and how, can you see the little pictures on top there? And how he goes about, he calls it like the punk rock filmmaking, or he references the word punk rock a lot. So, which, as far as I'm concerned, means sort of the low budget, the indie, the run and gun, or the guerrilla type of filmmaking. It's a must read. It's a very large book, but it is so incredibly easy to get through. Let me see if I can, he works with this young lady here, Amanda Wilson, as you can see there. Works with her a bit. And that's using the internet for promotion. Remember, this came out in 2006. Your own DVD, that's when you put things on DVD. He goes through a lot of software, a lot of sound production. There he is there. Is that him? I can't tell. Oh no, that's a young lady. That's Hannah. Hannah! Does he show his camera? Cameras? He did a film, Hubert, what was it called? Look up Michael W. Dean on IMDb. But he did a film, I believe it was a documentary. What was it called? But it was narrated by Robert Downey Jr. So he's serious about what he does, and he knows what he's talking about, but he does it in such a whimsical and carefree and fun way that I'm sneaking this one with me on my desert island trip. I'm sneaking it. Because if I can only take one, I'm taking this one, but I'm sneaking that one. Here's number one. This is a book that I just couldn't. What did you say? It's my wife.
But then you're not only taking one.
Yeah, but I'm sneaking it. I can't live without this book. The Book of Movie Photography. I've had this book almost as long as I have enjoyed filmmaking. This book was published in 1979, so a lot of the principles are dated. Okay, a lot of the material is dated. The principles are not dated. The principles that should and are the same. Check out that camera on the front. You guys know what that is. I have one of those. That's an ARRI. This book, my dust cover is a little rough. Here's the back. Look at that. A bully. This book, stitch them together. This book really details everything in such an easy way. Right? It gives you breakdowns. It gives you lists of things you need if you're going to shoot a film. It gives you lighting. It has so many beautiful pictures. Hardcover. Look at that. Ta-da. Don't leave home without it. The Book of Movie Photography. This book is by Alfred A. Knopp and David Cheshire. Knopp or Knopp? The F I'm imagining is silent. Right? That's my #1 book. So what I want to know is, what are your #1 books? If you're watching this live stream after the fact, tell me in the description what your #1 book is and the one that I need to be on the lookout for. It's going to be hard to beat this one for me, but maybe you can. Love to use some of my Canon FDs. DIY, baby. If I could wish for a camera to exist, what would it be? Like what format? Film speed? Lens mount? Ooh. Wow, that's a good one, Bonnie. I don't know. That's a really good question. Well, I mean, I wish there was more reasonably priced. Well, it's hard to say that because Aeroflex 2Cs are, I was going to say reasonably priced 35mm Cine cameras that were capable of sync sound and they were quiet and things like that. But with a lens mount that was practical, like one that, you know, you could use Canon EOS lenses with or something. I mean, my ideal would be stuff that's ready to get or over the counter, that still delivers beautiful results. Okay, 17 watching, yet only 14 thumbs up. Come on, people. As soon as this is done, I'll be looking. Yes, Mike, look for a #1 book. 8mm, 16mm. IMO is fine for me. I like IMO. In fact, Travis has a nice IMO as well. Travis did some sync sound with his IMO. You can look at. He's on Instagram and Facebook. The Celluloid Alchemist. Travis, you can put your link on there if you want. Here's the question: do you take the technical book or the inspirational book? I have to have. Well, I take this because it's both. I take this one. That's a good question, Lyle. Reasonably priced integrated animal. Yeah, FB and X, you're right about that. Wouldn't that be nice? I take this because I think this is both. When I just look at the images from these late 70s, early 80s stuff, that to me is inspiration. I get my inspiration and I get my comfort from being surrounded by this kind of stuff. I really do. So I would take this. It's a bit technical, a little, only a little, but very inspirational. Yeah. Check out that. Travis just posted on his Instagram. He put that little clip, the bikini girl, syncing sound. Pretty good job, and the footage looks great. How to make Movie Magic, a focal cinebook by Julian Kottner, 1971. Thank you, Cecil. I gotta look for that. You just bought 2 of the books. Oh, awesome. Blaz. I'm not going to try to pronounce the name, Remjet. It's making an 8mm film camera that takes 8 frames on one. Wow. Wow. Remjet, that would be awesome. Holy cow. Wow. I'm thinking about making a lookbook or putting together a zine of sorts or a book based on still frames of cine film. Moving pictures, still frames of moving pictures. I'm thinking about putting that book together at some point. Do you have a writing soundtrack to listen to while script writing? You know what? I did, Russell. That's a good question. I did, but I really don't anymore. I love 80s music, all 80s music. So on occasion, I will just put a mixtape, so to speak, on, and it helps. It helps a lot. Okay, guys, listen. We are 1 hour and 17, almost 18 minutes deep. So my family is tired of being quiet, although they're not. So I'm going to wrap this up, and say cheers to everyone that popped in. I really, really appreciate it. It looks like we had a really good turnout. I just love when you guys stay active. Like, this is just so much fun for me. I love chatting film. I love chatting film books, analog. Be sure and leave me your favorite book in the description. I will put all 20 of these in the description as well, and not in the description. Yeah, I'll put them in the description. You leave me your favorite book in the comments. I got like 45 good minutes before I start losing it. At least that's what my wife tells me. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for popping in. Thank you so much to everybody that makes this channel what it is. It's a tiny little channel, but I think we have an awesome community. I got a found film coming out in the next few days, so keep an eye out. It's Kodachrome. I think it's yeah, it is. Is it Kodachrome? Yeah, it is Kodachrome. Pretty sure. So keep an eye out for that. And to everybody, have a safe and happy 4th of July. And I will see you, yes, all of you, you know, Cecil, you know. All right, Travis, you got it. Remjet, Lyle, Radios, everybody. I'll see you all on the very
Let's go around.
Bye, guys.